So hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the fourth video in this new and wonderful series, and in this one I will talk about diminishing returns and crowd control changes in Warlords of Draenor. So here we go. Another big takeaway from Mists of Pandaria is that there were simply too much crowd control effects, CC, in the game. To solve that, we knew that we needed an across-the-board disarmament, so here is the summary of the player cast CC changes. Removed silence effects from interrupts. Silences still exist, but are never attached to an interrupt. Removed all disarms. Reduce the number of diminishing returns, DR, categories. All roots now share the same DR category, exception roots on charge types abilities have no DR category, but have a very short duration instead. All stands now share the same DR category. All incapacitate, mesmerize effects now share the same DR category and have been merged with the horror DR category. Remove the ability to make cast time CC spells instant with a cooldown. Removed many CC spells entirely and increased the cooldowns and the restriction on others. Petcast CC is more limited and often removed. Cyclone can now be dispelled by immunities and mass dispel. PvP trinkets now grant immunity to reapplication of an effect from the same spell cast when they break the ability with persistent effects like Solar Beam. Long fears are now shorter in PvP to account for the target also needing to run back afterwards. Additionally, we've significantly reduced the number of output increasing cooldowns and procs in order to further reduce burst damage. Please keep in mind when reading the specifics of the patch notes that some classes may have lost abilities or had the power of selected abilities reduced. These changes were made in the context of the above goals. Other classes have a reduced crowd control ability overall. We believe that this entire package of changes will make PvP a more enjoyable experience for everyone. And here is the summary of the changes for all the different classes. So let's start with the Druid. Cyclone can now be cancelled by immunity effects like Divine Shield, Ice Block, etc. and can be dispelled by Mass Dispel. Disorienting Roar's effect now shares diminishing returns with other Mesmerize effects. Nature's Swiftness can no longer turn Cyclone into an instant cast spell. Solar Beam no longer silences a target again more than once per cast. Additionally, the silence effect from this spell now shares diminishing returns with other silences. Hunters. Hunter pets no longer have crowd control abilities, so basilisks and their petrifying gaze, bats with sonic blast, birds of prey with snatch, crabs with pin, crane's lullaby, crocolisk's ankle crack, dog's lockjaw, gorilla's pummel, monkey's bad manners, moth's serenity dust, netherrace's nether shock, porcupine's paralyzing quell, rhino's horn toss, scorpion's clench, shell spider's web wrap, cylitid's venom web spray, spider's web, wasp's sting has been removed as pet abilities. Entrapment's root effect now shares diminishing returns with all other root effects. Scatter shot has now been removed, silencing shot has been removed, traps and trap launchers no longer have an arming time and can be instantly triggered, traps can no longer be disarmed, and Scare Beast now has a 6-second duration in PvP down from 8. Mage. Dragon's Breath's disoriented effect now shares diminishing returns with all other mesmerize effects. Ice Ward's frozen effect now shares diminishing returns with all other root effects. Improved counterspell has been removed, and Presence of Mind can no longer turn polymorph into an instant cast spell. Monks. Fists of Fury no longer stuns a target more than once per cast. Glyph of Breath of Fire's Disorient effect now shares diminishing returns with all other mesmerize effects. Grapple Weapon has been removed. Ring of Peace no longer silences or disarms enemies. It now incapacitates targets in the area for 3 seconds or until the target takes damage. This ability now shares diminishing returns with all other mesmerize effects. Yes! Spear Hand Strike no longer silences the target if they are facing the monk. And Spinning Fire Blossom's root effect now shares diminishing returns with all other root effects. Paladin. Blinding Light has been removed, Repetant's cast time has been increased to 1.8 seconds, and Turn Evil's cast time has been increased to 1.8 seconds and now has a 6-second duration in PvP, down from 8 seconds. Priest. Dominate Might now shares diminishing returns with all other mesmerize effects. Holy Word Justice now shares diminishing returns with all other mesmerize effects. Physic Horror now shares diminishing returns with all other mesmerize effects. Psychic Scream is now a level 15 talent, replacing Psyfiend, and has a 45-second cooldown, up from 30 seconds. Rapture no longer has any effect beyond removing the cooldown of Power Word Shield, and Void Tendrils' root effect now has a chance to break if the target takes sufficient damage. Rogues. Dismantle has been removed. Paralytic poison has been removed and replaced with internal bleeding. Internal bleeding causes successful kidney shot to also apply periodic bleed effect for 12 seconds with the damage increasing per combo point used. Shamans. Ancestral Swiftness can no longer turn Hex into an instant cast spell. Earthgrab Totem, now shares diminishing returns with all other root effects. Maelstrom Weapon can no longer reduce the cast time of Hex. And the bug fix, Glyph of Shamanistic Rage, should no longer cost Shamanistic Rage to incorrectly dispel Unstable Affliction or Vampiric Touch that has been modified by the PvP Forced bonus. Warlocks. Blood Horror's cooldown has been increased to 60 seconds, up from 30, and now shares diminishing returns with all other Mesmerize effects. Fellhunter's Spell Lock now only interrupts spellcasting and no longer silences the enemy. Mortal Coil now shares diminishing returns with all other Mesmerize effects. Observer Optic Blast now only deals damage and interrupts spellcasting. The ability no longer silences an enemy. Seer's Magic cooldown has been increased to 30 seconds, up from 20. Succubus Seduction and Shivara Mesmerize now have 30-second cooldown. Terror Guard no longer casts Terrifying Roar when it dies. Unbound Will's cooldown has been increased to 2 minutes, up from 1 minute. And Voidwalker's Disarm and Voidlord Disarm have been removed. And the last but not least, the Warrior. Charge now roots the target instead of stunning it. The root effect does not share diminishing return with other roots. Warbringer now causes Charge to stun the target for 1.5 seconds instead of rooting it. Disarm has been removed. Intimidating Shout now has a 6-second duration in PvP, down from 8 seconds. And as a final note from me, my opinion, I think this is a great change. PvP is based around CC right now. Every time I try to PvP I get CC to all hell. It is not fun. Okay, the output of a battle is determined by the team with the strongest CC, and I think that's wrong. And I'm very happy for this change. So I thank you all for watching. I hope you liked this video. Maybe you've learned something new, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.